On today's episode, we are switching it up by talking about the Nova Scotia Men's Division 1, the elite level of senior men's club rugby in Nova Scotia. We'll cover how the league currently works, who's in it, and what changes we might see for the 2026 season. Welcome back to Pitchside with myself, Seán, Ryan Radio, the podcast focused on grassroots rugby across Canada. And today we are diving into the Nova Scotia, specifically the Men's Division 1, one of the most exciting competitions in the province. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Seán, what is the Men's Division 1? Why does it matter? Why are we talking about this today? Well, Nova Scotia Men's Division 1, or the MD1 as I'm going to refer it in this video, or this podcast, is the top club rugby in the province. It's highest standard of club rugby in Nova Scotia. And it's also the only rugby championship consisting of teams from more than one province. So we have Charlottetown RFC is also in this league, and they represent PEI for this championship. So there is interprovincial matches, I suppose is what you would call it. So the rugby season typically is closer to the end of May to August. It produces some of the players that go on to the Atlantic regional teams, the Canadian University Rugby, and some of the professional leagues like the MLR. Some international players that have come from these teams, specifically, that come to mind. Cooper Coates is one of them. He used to play for the Halifax Stars. He's played at the international level for Canada. Brett Johnson, who played for the Chur Saints at one time. Another Canadian figure. Kyle Bailey is another from the Halifax Stars and also represented Canada. And Tyler Matcham from Pictou County also played for Canada. So there's a lot of talent coming out of these clubs, and it's very important to kind of see how important Nova Scotia is to the international level. Now, in terms of the league structure and the format for the year, we don't know what way it's going to be. I can't confirm or deny. This is the information that I have based on a small bit of research. But the last couple of years, it's changed the amount of teams that have been in the league. And it's been quite drastic. So in 2018, there was 8 teams in the league. In 2019, there were 6 teams in the league. Then just after COVID, 2021 to the 2022 season, those 2 years, there was 4 teams in the league. In 2023 to 2024, there was only 3 teams in the league. And last year, then, we had 6 teams in the league. And I would say more than likely we will see 6, but you never know. You never know. So what I'm thinking, if it's going to be the 6 teams, I think we're going to see the same 6 as what we had last year. You're going to have the Halifax Stars. You're going to have Halifax RFC. You're going to have Charlottetown. You're going to have Pictou County, Enfield RFC, and Valley RFC. And I think they are the teams going to be this season coming. But as I said, it changes every year, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just basing it off the information that is available on the website. Now, the point system, how is that going to work? It's similar to all the major ones. I think I've said it enough times, but you never know. There always could be a bit of changes, so that's why I like to bring it up. So it's similar to the URC, similar to the Six Nations, similar to your Super Rugby. You got 4 points for a win, 2 points for a draw, and 0 points for a loss. Bonus point for scoring 4 tries or more, and a bonus losing point if you lose less than 7 or 1 score. Now, when we look at what to look out for in the season for this year, there's a few teams that come to mind straight away, and these are the 3 teams I would be looking at on the initial opening days. As I said in previous episode, any of the teams I don't mention have the capabilities of shaking things up, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, to start off, I think this is the team that's going to be in everybody's mouths for probably winning the league again this year, is the Halifax Stars. They've been historically strong in the MD1, winning multiple titles in recent years. They had an unbeaten season last year. And, you know, they're favourites, they're top dogs, and they're probably going to do it again this year, is what my prediction is. But you never know. Could be a shake-up year. Charlottetown RFC, as I mentioned, the only team representing PEI in this competition, being the inter-provincial team. I don't know how you would call it, but that's what I'm calling it. They will be kind of focused on taking it home this year. They finished second in the competition last year, and they'll be hunting for the McCurdy Cup. Or McCurdy Cup, my apologies, is how you pronounce it. So they're going to be hunting for that this year. And another team that's going to be in that 3-horse race is definitely Halifax RFC. They're rivals to the Tars, so there's a big historical fight between these two teams. They played in the final of the McCurdy Cup last year. So they will be looking for revenge this year and causing some chaos for the Halifax Tars. Now, in terms of possible changes that we could possibly see this year, is that one, as I mentioned, we could see more teams. There are more teams in the province that can join into the MD1. So we could possibly change back to the 8 teams this season as well. But we could still see it getting smaller. So you just don't know. But I would be kind of cool to see the 8 teams again. I think that would be a big boost for Nova Scotia. As long as the challenges were not too drastic, distance traveling, all that sort of stuff obviously impacted. But as long as it made it very competitive, good sides battling each other and making culture in Nova Scotia for rugby, it'll be a good thing to do. But yeah, we're still unsure what way it's going to be. I'm predicting 6. I would be 95% sure it's going to be 6. Could be more, could be less, who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think it's going to be, or if you know the answer, put it in the comments of Spotify and YouTube. We could also see a promotion structure for the MD2 sides. There's a few teams, as I said, in there that could possibly be in the men's Division 1. Are they up to the same level as of right now? Maybe not. Maybe they're not at the same level, and that's the way things are going. But it would be kind of cool to add these teams into that structure when they have enough players or whatever the criteria is for moving into the MD1 and having an MD2 team. Probably players is probably the biggest thing. But the Chur Saints, River Lake, RFC, and Dartmouth East are 3 sides that, I think, we could possibly see them in the future in MD1, and that would be kind of cool to have. And I think that's the way Nova Scotia's club level is progressively getting better. Preparing for the season. Now that we understand how the league works, let's have a quick look and example of how a club prepares for the upcoming season. I got in contact with Enfield RFC and how they are preparing. Now, this club is not only just competing in the MD1, they are competing in the MD2, and they're also competing in the Women's Division 2. And they are currently the defending champions of the Women's Division 2. So they have a lot of things going on. They have a couple of different teams, which is good. It's definitely a team that's growing. They've got strong youth programs that continue growing the club, and that helps bring in the talent, bring in players, especially into the senior circuit. They have a few preseason matchups planned against teams that I cannot name yet. But I'm telling you, these matchups are going to be very exciting, and it'll be interesting to see how Enfield get the experience from these games, and possibly, let's see, maybe they might come home with the cup this year. Their men's Division 1s has a mix of young talent as well as vets with a lot of experience. So they are very balanced, and a lot of those young talents come from the universities. Mainly Dalhousie is the one that keeps getting mentioned as the university to go to if you are mad into rugby. They are aiming for the playoffs this year, but I think they can do more with the way that things are structured. They got a lot of talent. I think they might go for top 3. I think they'll be just outside of that bracket, maybe. Who knows? I think they're capable of getting silverware, is essentially what I'm trying to say. I think we're going to see a strong performance from them, and, I wish them the best of luck in the upcoming year. But that's just the one team that's getting themselves ready. They have a few outlets in terms of how they're getting players and whatnot, and getting themselves sorted. And you can imagine they've been training in the indoor facilities, getting ready for the snow to melt, get onto the field, get into the muck of it. So super exciting stuff. Now, my favorite segment, I think it's your favorite segment, is the rugby news across Canada. And we'll start with Nova Scotia, because we're doing a Nova Scotia episode. We might as well do a little bit of focus on what's happening in Nova Scotia. The Halifax Tars turn the Big 5-0, a major celebration for the Tars. They will be aiming to do back-to-back seasons, being undefeated and claiming the McCurdy Cup once again. Talking about anniversaries, River Lake RFC celebrating 20 years. And the original club founders are playing at the Churro Sevens this weekend. So they're still playing, they're still showing up, they're still enjoying the sport, which is really cool, really unique. It's happening this weekend, or today, because this episode comes out on Friday, and it happens all weekend long. So if you're over in Churro, check it out. Or if you're in the Nova Scotia area and are like, what should I do for the weekend? Go to Churro, see the Sevens, It's a good day out. The club is also introducing a $0 for the women's membership dues this year. So that's a big plus if you're a woman who's looking to play rugby, mightn't have the money to play. This is a great opportunity for you to go out to River Lake, play rugby, and only have to play for the Rugby Canada insurance. So good opportunity, get you into the sport, see how you enjoy it and whatnot. If you want to do it, and it's a big push for growing women's rugby. It's on the rise. We're second in the world. Remember that, guys. So we always like a good incentive for women's rugby. And the club is aiming for silverware this year on an anniversary year, and I wish them the best of luck across the board, whether it's in the men's, whether it's in the women's. I wish them the best of luck. And in coaching news, Kingston Panthers have announced Seán Dunleavy as head coach of the senior women's side. He's got experience to bring to this team to the next level. Worked with Canada U18s, the Ontario Senior Women's, Queen's University, the Eastern Ontario Rugby Union Junior Sevens, the NDSS Girls, and the U18s Kingston Panthers. So he's got a lot of experience. He also knows the youth coming up from the 18s into the senior program. So he's going to be well versed in who his players are, how he can utilize them to the best of their ability. So it's exciting stuff happening over at the Kingston Panthers. And the team is excited for what direction he takes this year. But will Seán Dunleavy bring Kingston Panthers to the All Championships finals and take home the cup in August? We'll have to wait and see. But I wish them the best of luck on that adventure. Now, before we bounce into the international news segment, I know you love the international news. I know you want me to talk about the Six Nations. But before we bounce into it, I got a new segment that I'm putting into the show. The segment won't happen every time we do this show, but when a club sends me a jersey, I got to talk about it. The Canadian Jaxs have sent me over this beautiful jersey. I've just shown you the back, but this is the front. So for my listeners on Spotify, it's a black jersey with hint of red on the collars, on the sleeves. It's kind of gotten your lumberjack vibe with it, so it's pretty sick. Now, the coolest part about this jersey is what I find is all the teams on the back. This is for the Canadian Irregular Sevens. It says it up on the top back of the jersey. And it's got several clubs on there. It's got the Ottawa Ospreys. It's got the Bytown Blues, SAB RFC. It's got Kingston Panthers, Ottawa Irish, Brockville Privateers, Barrhaven Scottish, Lanark, the Gladiators, Cornwall, and the Ottawa Wolves, as well as the Ottawa Senators as well. So it's got a lot of teams, both from Ontario as well as Quebec. So really impressive stuff there. And you're probably wondering, Seán, who are the Canadian Jaxs? Because I haven't mentioned them in the Marshall, haven't mentioned them in the Owl. They are a unified rugby club based in Ottawa, Ontario. Their goal is to provide rugby programming to anyone in Eastern Ontario area, regardless of experience and abilities. They say that physical and intellectual disabilities are not a barrier to playing rugby. Everyone is welcome at the Jaxs. They run 2 programs each year. They're 8-week programs, one in the winter, one in the summer. And they've had their first international unified touch rugby game in Ottawa, which they hosted last summer, facing the Washington Wolfpack, playing on the lawn of the Supreme Court. So that's pretty cool to be playing at such a unique venue. They called the match the Capital Cup, with the US Eagles sporting the game from the sideline. So they were cheering them on, which is really cool for the US Eagles to be doing that. The game ended in a draw for anybody interested in how that game went. But it was a good day out and a good day of rugby on the outside the Supreme Court, which is so cool, so cool. They say that rugby is for everyone, is their motto, and there is no better way to describe the Jaxs. Check them out. They will also be collaborating with Ruck in Kind, with Jaxs t-shirts available to purchase soon. So I want you to watch out for that, because we had the Ruck in Kind hat on, the t-shirt in episode 3, I believe, and honestly, very comfortable stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring out. And it's also going to a good cause. So make sure you check that out. Now, international news. Are you excited I'm excited. Everybody's excited. I'm telling you right now. If you're not watching the Six Nations, I think you're missing out. And if you think the Six Nations isn't as good as South Africa or New Zealand or Australia in the Rugby Championship, I'm telling you, this year is probably the year to watch it. This is the year to watch it. If you're saying I don't like it, you got to watch it because it's just been so competitive. We've had so many games where it's just you can't predict it, or it's just been like it couldn't happen in a million years, but it's happened. This is the million year. So we have a very very fun Super Saturday. It doesn't always end up this way. Sometimes we already know who's going to win by round four, and a lot of us were thinking that round four we would have our winner. We would know who would have the Six Nations title. Unfortunately, that's not the case because we had so much drama last weekend. But in terms of games this weekend that you should be excited for, Ireland versus Scotland, Triple Crown and possible Six Nations winner. Ireland looking for the Triple Crown. Triple Crown is such a big trophy for rugby, for the Lions provinces or Lions countries, because it's just a big one. It's the one that's been around for so long. As I said, they're possibly both sides are looking at the claiming the Six Nations title. Scotland, if they win against Ireland, boost their chances by a lot. They have to hope that another game, which I will touch on, has to go their way. And especially, same for Ireland. If they win the game, they need to claim all the points they get. They need the 5. They need a big score, and hopefully a game later on that I will mention goes their way. Now, the game after Ireland and Scotland is going to be the Wales versus Italy match. It's the current wooden spoon holder versus the team that has the most Six Nations wooden spoons. So that's kind of that matchup. The wooden spoon, in a sense, it's just more historically. I don't think Italy are going to be getting a wooden spoon this year. They're out. They have too many points to be able to get that. It's sitting at 4th at the moment. So they're comfortable in that. But Wales will be wanting to get points. They want to be able to get out of the situation they're in, and not get a wooden spoon. So that's a kind of a matchup. Italy would probably be favourites going into that game. But Wales are going to be so hungry to get a win, to just show that like they are capable. And we've seen it throughout the tournament this year that Wales are capable of causing chaos, causing ruckus. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. And then the match that I think everybody's eyes will be on after the Ireland and Scotland game is the England versus France. England versus France in any sport is always a big occasion, whether it's in soccer, whether it's in rugby. So it's always a big battle. And this one is bigger than ever, because if France win the game with 5 points, that means including the 4 tries, they essentially win the tournament. There's no real way for them to lose, other than Scotland absolutely trashing Ireland, which is very unlikely happening in the Aviva Stadium. So Scotland and Ireland are going to be hoping that England can cause chaos on that day, make France lose, make sure that they don't get the bonus point. And it's in the Stade de France, so it's kind of going to be an uphill battle for England. They haven't been showing up. If they lose by a massive margin and Wales win their game against Italy, we could possibly see England getting their first wooden spoon in the Six Nations. And that will be kind of historical in its own sense. So there's a lot of firsts that could happen. Scotland could win their first Six Nations ever. Ireland could win it by the skin of their teeth, depending on how the outcome goes. England could get their first wooden spoon. Wales could get another wooden spoon. Italy could have had 3 wins in the season. So there's a lot of firsts happening this year in the Six Nations. So I'm super excited about it. I'm not going to do picks for the Six Nations in terms of players, because I got very lucky last weekend with the games. I went with certain individuals that just didn't pay off. So I'm not going to give you any advice, because I feel like if I give you individuals to go with, that it's just going to backfire. But I think anybody I've mentioned so far are decent still picks that consistently would work. But we just don't know with this competition. It's just been crazy, really crazy. Now, to close off the show, I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. You can find me on Instagram at Seán_Ryan_radio to get all the updates on rugby, whether it's happening on the East Coast, West Coast, wherever, that's where you'll find it. If you want to get in contact as well, that's also a good shout. If you want to be a part of the show, email me at seanryanradio@gmail.com. Just to let you know, we aren't doing any more interviews until I'm at the new location because of Wi-Fi issues. I felt like the episode was good overall. I think we had a lot of fun, but it affected a lot of different things due to the fact that the quality wasn't the same, which was a pity. Which is a pity, unfortunately. But I had a lot of fun talking to Kyle. He was a lot of fun, and we have a few other people lined up to talk to. But if you want to join the conversation, whether you're a player, coach, president, whoever it might be, do get in contact. And we'll see what we can do when we get to the new location. I'm going to be above ground, so I should have better internet connection. If you want to help out me covering Canadian rugby even more, you can support the show on Ko-Fi. Every little bit helps in the podcast. It's in my link tree. It's in my Instagram bio. I'll have it in the bio or in the description of this episode. So you can click that. When it comes to the next episode, and I think it might be the final episode here. If not, it's going to be the episode after. I'm leaving it up to you, right? Do you want me to talk about Alberta, how Alberta works, their teams, or do you want me to talk about Quebec? I'm giving you the option. Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna try and do a poll. If not, I'm gonna do one on Instagram to see what one you want me to do. But I'm leaving it in your hands. Either or works. We're still at that stage where the season hasn't started. Want to talk more about rugby. Want to get more involved. Want to get more information about all these different leagues out there, so you can get involved in any way, shape, or form. So let me know in the comments which one you want me to see. Do it in polls, whatnot. And if you want to send me information about these clubs that are in Alberta and Quebec, and we're going to be looking at the top leagues. Let me know, because I think it'd be very interesting to see. Until then, you know who it is. It's Seán Ryan, and this has been Pitchside.